Okay. We should start now. Maybe some more people will filter in. Cool. Well, hi, everybody. Welcome. We're going to be holding this call from the North Pole this year. And this one is the last Everscale community call of the year. Oh, how many have we had? A lot. So today we're bringing 2022 to a close with some pretty awesome updates. So go ahead and grab that double soy peppermint mochaccino frappe latte with all those jingle bells and take a seat. So kicking it off, where's Pavel? We need Pavel. Okay. We'll go ahead to Mitya then, because we need Pavel to take off the Naughty Elf committee update, where we got to wait for him to join. So Mitya, you're here. So you got the gift open source hodler. Got an update? Can't hear you. Yeah, I can hear you now.
Gift open source?
Yes, give all the gifts. Give me.
Gift open source hodler. That's nice name. Yeah. All right. Well, I want just to tell that we have released version 3.0 quietly. Go try it out, because now actually it works. We added a lot of parallelization, and you can push even kind of quite large repositories right now. We pushed Ubuntu and Nginx and stuff like that. So you definitely can use this. So we kind of graded as a production release because all the contracts are upgradable. So if you go to app Gosha and to your DAO, you can choose to upgrade the contracts if the upgrade is available. So it's you don't need to migrate any data if suddenly something breaks and we need to add something or change some contract, whatever, which is very nice thing. So it's kind of production ready in a way. That's one thing. And obviously, coming to the performance size, someone told me, I don't remember who it was, that setting up records on RustCup was not important. It was bullshit. It was that. It was this. So yeah, I mean, if all your application on the blockchain that you want to do is to send some tokens from one place to another, or having a DEX, the not order book DEX, but the kind of the usual shit, then you don't need to have performance of 45,000 transactions per second. Who cares, right? But if you actually try to do something useful or kind of high load, if you want to do order book exchange, which I have no idea why it wasn't that yet, but been launched, but I hope it will on Everscale. So if you if you want to push Linux repository with 50 million objects with a history, because that's what you want to do, right, into on-chain Git, then you can calculate yourself how many transactions per second you need to upload that kind of repository into the blockchain in any meaningful time, not waiting for days to do that, right? So yeah, I think what we're doing is we're creating 64 wallets. We send in parallel, all the objects, commits, blobs, diffs into the blockchain using this wallet. So it's a 64 parallel streams, which are doing basically sending messages, just overloading the whole channel, basically. And by doing this, we actually kind of helped debug a lot of technology underneath, like SDK, cloud, and also some compiler in the process, and so on, and infrastructure as well. So it stress out the everything we build up until now. And there is a good and bad news. So the good news is that we are actually able to debug that to the level where it's kind of really production ready. So what we consider production ready in Gosh is something that will be on the level of not on the GitHub maybe yet, but something that you can actually kind of tolerate as a developer. You push the repository, and you don't want to wait days for that. Or you push a commit, you don't want to wait 1 hour for your just simple commit to be uploaded. So this is good news. The bad news is that it's still not on the GitHub level. Like, it still doesn't push your commit in seconds. And I think these kind of applications, which I don't know if there are a lot of them like this, maybe actually, like, consciously we think there is only one right now. It's Gosh, the application that actually needs that amount of, like the speed, the throughput, and so on. But it's also the only real-time application, like a real-life application for the blockchain, for the public blockchain. Because all the rest, if you think, like, it's either private blockchains that used in logistics and some enterprise-level applications right now, which mostly using Hyperledger from IBM, or it's a DeFi applications on the public blockchain, more or less, and that's it. And DeFi applications definitely, they do not require that amount, unless it's order book is the only maybe application that requires this amount of transactions per second, tech processing. And the other one, and what is the other one on the public blockchain? Well, again, we think it's like something like Gosh. Maybe there will be, I hope there will be more in the future, but Gosh definitely is one of these applications. So you definitely need something which is capable of processing in parallel many millions of operations, actually, because Gosh demands that right now, and no blockchain can do that, including Everscale currently. Like, right, Everscale cannot process 1 million transactions per second. But if you think what the GitHub servers process, if you push repositories in parallel to GitHub, like you can try it yourself, take Linux 50 million objects, try to push it from several machines. What will happen? Well, Git will just process it. It will take minutes, maybe a little bit more, but it will be really quick. No blockchain, including Everscale, can do that right now. So there is still a very long way to go in terms of the underlying infrastructure, blockchain infrastructure, to be able to compete in any meaningful way with the current cloud-based computing infrastructure and applications for the applications like Gosh. Right, so yeah, that was the update. You now can, we also added some very kind of, for your convenience, we added some feature.
Oh yeah, sorry for interrupting you, but you kind of you want to switch topic, but do you believe that Everscale will kind of fulfill the requirements of such performance-great applications?
Why do you ask me?
Yeah, just I'm asking an opinion because
I'm not actively involved in the development,
okay.
So I cannot give you that opinion. I mean, it would be a guess. I don't want to guess.
Right.
So we added this. You can actually go now, and we added that you can register now with the GitHub account. And you can, when doing so, you can check the flow right now. I mean, you authorizing on GitHub. We're not storing your credentials or anything like that. What we do is that pulling your repositories, your organizations that you're owner of, and we're suggesting you to push any, like you choose which GitHub repositories you want to push if you're an owner of them to Gosh, and we do it for you. You don't. We send you an email when it's done, so you don't need to even push anything, right? You just take your account, authorize with Gosh, choose the depositories that you want to push, and forget about that. We'll send you an email once it's uploaded, and you can start using it. So because the first push is the one that actually takes the most time, because it's a lot of objects from the history of your repository and so on. So instead, we just did that small server, that just a scheduling server that basically pushes it for you. Once it's pushed, it will transfer all the tokens. It's called Gosh bot. It will transfer all the tokens to you, except for one token. If you want to keep it, this bot can also continuously push the new things you push on GitHub, so it synchronizes with GitHub without you doing anything again. So you don't need to think about anything, right? So that's all from me.
Great.
Give it a test, give it a try.
Yeah. So is that your 2023 goal? Take over GitHub now? No more waiting?
No. We don't want to
Instant
take over
upload.
GitHub. It's we don't think of GitHub. We think of open source community kind of DAO tools that we bring to open source community. There is very interesting topic. There's a new lady who started to work with us, Oksana Stanevich, who is responsible for public health and science in Gosh. So she is bridging with scientific community and medical research. So there is a medical DAO and kind of pub health DAOs that is one of the things, just to illustrate kind of how we think about that. So to give DAO tools to all sorts of communities around open source or science, so they will be able to actually, like, we are formulating it now. Can you mute, please?
Yeah. Ivan, can you mute? We hear the bar in the background.
Yeah, your bar noise is annoying. We think of that as one of the actually competitions with Gosh will have in 2023 is the open source foundations. So if you think about that, what open source foundations do, they provide this services around open source repositories, which are guaranteeing something for the enterprise customers. And their guarantee is that the developer will not run away, will not drop, will continue to maintain repository, and they will not go crazy and to push some malicious commits. That's what really foundations do. But foundations, open source foundations, is not a scalable business model. Like, they cannot scale. Like, how many foundations do you have in open source? How many open source repositories are in the foundations? There is a fraction of all the open source repositories because it's just not scalable. And the DAO tools that Gosh provides can actually give the same level of guarantees to the enterprises for the open source repository, so they will be well maintained, because there is a decentralized management, which, by the way, enterprise customers can easily participate. And so if you talk about open source movement in Gosh, then we think we are actually competing with open source foundations for that matter. Okay. And of course, there is a security aspect of that. The second one is a lot of security products coming now after we did the basic layer production level. Now there are a lot of tools which I cannot talk about because we're actually talking and working with enterprise customers right now for these tools. But yeah, it will be unveiled soon. Okay, great. Looking forward to it. Nice plans for 2023 then. Foundation. If we don't have any questions, I'm going to ask if Pavel's here and ready, and if he would like to take on talking about the Naughty Elf committee update. Pavel, I see you're here, but I don't know if you are ready. No. Okay, so then we're going to move on to EverX. We've got a couple updates from our side, and we're going to start with Katerina.
and she has some updates from the EverCloud team. So when you're ready.
Yeah, hello. I will share my screen.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, we have couple of news. On EverCloud side, we have released recently Flex API and Flex SDK. There was no announcement about it yet because we're waiting for the official Flex release, but this API and SDK are already available, so you can try and play with them. So, for instance, you can go to Flex documentation, you can find integration guide, and so to check how to deposit funds, to withdraw funds, to trade, and so on. And also there is a Flex API specification there, and the API itself looks something like this. This is just one query, but as always, you can click on the right and you see the root query Flex, and all the API is available here. So you have pairs, market, like price history for history candles, graph, and order book, and some statistics and wallets information, trades, orders. And also the SDK, it's Flex SDK JS repository. It has a link to its reference. So also the repository has lots of examples, so you can check how to write code using this library. This is about Flex. Then, wait a second. The next thing is query complexity calculation API that we added. It looks like this. So basically you run your query, you just add this function cost, complexity, and optionally you can add explain so that you can see like why it costs like that. And we're thinking about making it like open source. Probably it will be a motivation for other people to launch the DApp servers and to like calculate the heaviness like of the queries so that you can also bill users somehow. Next thing we added is price API. Price means token price. It's just a proof of concept now. It's just the price of Ever in USDT and in USD and market cap and volume. So it's just very simple API that may be useful for someone. Now we're in the process of one big architectural like feature, backend feature that we need a lot is like I call it message processing pool. It's basically the backend processing where we allow users to process a lot of external messages simultaneously, because current architecture is it loads backend a lot, and we will create kind of transaction message pool that were recently processed, and we will remove the whole block walking on the backend. So the user will just get, result, either the message was expired or it was processed via the subscription. And another thing that is in progress now, it's project analytics that you might saw the tab in the EverCloud dashboard, project analytics, that we will show the information about API quality. We will show logs for like 7 days of all API requests with responses, with error responses and execution time, response time, and stuff like that. And also we will like collect metrics based on that, based on those logs, that will show like the request rate, per second, and total requests and total consumed cost, query calculation cost, and so on. So, and later we will use this data also for billing. Okay, this is about EverCloud. On the C side, we supported full body inbound message. It will be released, I think, tomorrow, maybe today. And about copyleft, we had some issue with copyleft. For now, we just released the, like, SE tolerates copyleft. Now it doesn't, it will not fail if your contract uses this instruction, but it's not fully functional. It collects fees only to the block, but it doesn't transfer them to master chain yet because we don't have master chain in the C. But I think we will support it someday. And a lot of optimizations were made on SDK side or relating to WebSocket on high throughput. So now we added reconnections and some error resolving stuff. A lot of work was done to improve WebSocket protocol and SDK. I think this is it from me.
Okay, great updates. Thank you, Katerina. I know Evgeny was hoping for some Flex updates, so hopefully, you gave him a bit of insight there, because we couldn't ask Pavel before. So thanks again. And Dmitry from the Node team recorded a REMP update video for everybody. So, Roman, would you be able to screen share that video?
Yeah, for sure. Just one moment. Let me share my screen.
Nice beret, Ivan. You're so chic.
I'm glad.
Hello. Let us give some small update about REMP development protocol, development of REMP protocol, and about its current status. First of all, let's say some words about what REMP is about the purpose of this protocol, what we are doing to achieve, what we are going to achieve. We just want to make external message processing less anarchic. What does it mean? Currently, the messages are received by validators, and there is no many information about what happens with the messages, in what order they are executed, etc. One may be more or less sure that message is properly processed and added into blocks if it is sent to the validators twice, but this is more or less common knowledge, and there is no guarantee that two attempts to deliver the message is enough. Maybe not in some particular network configuration. Also, currently there is no message status which can be received by user and checked. Whether you send a message and you don't know what happened with it. Maybe it's processed, or maybe it was lost, or maybe it will be processed in 3 minutes and you will have double spend problem or whatever. REMP offers some of these problems. It just gives some fixes to the problems. First, it gives some soft delivery guarantees. Soft means that guarantees are valid if the network is not overloaded. If the message can be included, it will be included. But if there are too many messages, it may be lost. Second, each message is tracked by validators, and you know what stage of the message processing is now. For example, by that you can judge whether you need to resend the message because it received timeout, or you need to wait. Maybe it will be processed in a few minutes. And it's maybe the most the easiest comparable thing is messengers. Is messenger how it processes your message. First, you receive one tick that the message was received by server for delivery, and then you can receive some other statuses that the message was finally delivered to the computer of the user you send it to, and maybe even that the message was read by the user. They can be different statuses of the message. The same happens with messages in current validator. In REMP protocol, what happened with the message in validator? Whether it was received by validator, included into block, or even finalized. And this gives some soft delivery guarantee that the message was received by validator and validators will make any effort to deliver it. If they fail, that's because the network was overloaded. This sounds not very strict, so this means that the guarantee is soft. But also it offers some protection against malicious behavior. First of all, it gives some replay protection guarantee, strong protection guarantee if the messages have expiration time. Because there is sliding window, like 4 to 8 minutes. If the message was found in this sliding window again, then it will not be processed again. If you have expiration time, then you have guaranteed that the message will not be processed at all if it was processed once. Also, you can have other guarantees based on this or similar ideas because you have some information about mass processing. Some words about inside of REMP protocol. Just general words. It consists of 3 parts: the communication between user and validators, the part which responsible for internal processing of the message. You have code around all parts of validator node, which informs the message about its status. And there is maybe the most important part of the protocol is the protocol of communication between validators. Either all validators know about your message and process it simultaneously, or the message will not be delivered. If the message is unknown to other validators, it will not be processed. This offers also some kinds of guarantees against malicious behavior of validators. Here is some diagram of behavior of the messages statuses inside validators. More or less, you can consider REMP protocol as a collection of finite state machines. Why collection? Because each validator has its own statuses of the message processing. And by this diagram, you can see what happens with messages and why the guarantees are soft. Because the message can be rejected by full node, but that's not a problem because full node is on your side before the validators start to work with it. The weak guarantee happens when the message is received by validators and distributed between them. It happens very quickly, as I told before. It like tens milliseconds, but that doesn't really guarantee that the message will end up in master chain because, for example, the network may be overloaded and the message will expire before we will have slot for the message in blocks. You can see how it can happen. The message was received by collator, by shard chain, and then unluckily the block wasn't accepted by master chain. The message was returned back to validator cache, and this loop can continue several times before the message expires. that can happen. Another possibility is when the message conditions change seriously, change too much before collation happens. The message was checked by validators and by full node and accepted, but when it came to collator, for example, it can take like 10 seconds, but these 10 seconds can be too much for the money. The money from the account of the message may disappear, may be spent to some other activity, and finally, when the message comes to collator, it turns out that it can be processed, then it will be rejected, and the message will not be collated and added into block and finalized. And after first initial soft finality, weak finality, you will receive a rejected message. So that's also a possibility which prohibits us from saying that REMP gives quick finality guarantees. Nevertheless, maybe, yep, not maybe, but nevertheless, this weak finality may be used like a trade mechanism. Either you have quick but not very good guarantee for the message, or you have slow but strong guarantee with finalized messages. And few words about activity. All the stories before that were about idea of the REMP and current understanding of the protocol. Now we have information about current development stage of the protocol. General development is done, so mostly the code is finished. Now we're working on debugging some minor bugs and about increasing its speed. Currently we have like 500 TPS. The first milestone is 1000 TPS, and we are close to it, but not yet there. After we receive 1000 TPS, we will start working on the protocol on networks, development networks, and later on mainnet. And here is a demonstration about the protocol, how it works on our testing network, because we can show how this happens in real life. Here we have the software, software output, which gives us information about how the messages are processed. The colors here show the statuses of the test messages. The message is delivered to the network. Then the gray color says that there was no reply from the validators. And other colors here show the stage of the processing. The best stage achieved by the message so far. After 3 seconds after the message was received by the network, after 6 seconds, 9 seconds, 15 seconds, and some other stages. I will show them later. We can see that first messages that were finalized appear after 9 seconds after the message was received by the validators. And more or less final state of the message processing is 60 seconds. Nothing really will happen after that. The message will expire after 60 seconds. So nothing, there will be nothing to change after that. Not much. The vertical scale here is the amount of messages. So here are some examples of message processing in different speed of in different amount of message per second in different speed. But here are not message per second, they're message per minute. So 30K means 500 TPS and 20K means a bit more than 300 TPS. Let's look at the numbers achieved so far. We have different stage how the message is processed. We can say that first delivered messages happen after 9 seconds. This is like very optimistic finality, but it's not for, it's just for minor part of the messages. After 30 seconds, the picture is more or less stable, and 60 seconds is, we have big difference between 30 and 60 seconds, but not more after that. Here we see that the 20K, which corresponds to 300 TPS, is more or less stable. Some messages are lost, but the ratio is not very big. But at 500 TPS, the picture is not very great. And we are debugging that stuff. The network will work on larger speeds too. 1000 TPS is also achievable, but the ratio of lost messages is not very good. So there is some additional work necessary for fixing. And a few words about what is fixing now. There are two main directions. First direction is fixing bugs, as I told. There remain some minor bugs inside. Then their manner in terms of the amount of messages they influence, but they can be quite important bugs, of course. The second issue is bandwidth, because generation of messages requires some additional structures and some additional memory requirements and whatever, some additional bandwidth, and that stuff requires a lot of additional work. And there are narrow places, there are bottlenecks which should be improved. For example, one of them I can show is that probably you can see that there is some pattern about switching between validator sessions. As you know, in Tone architecture as well as in Ever architecture, each 4 or 5 minutes you have change of validators, and there is some additional load over the network because of that. And you can see that it can be seen on these diagrams as loss of some messages between sessions. So that's about the status. Any questions? Speeds too. 1000 TPS is also achievable, but the ratio of lost messages is not very good. So there is some additional work necessary for fixing. And a few words about what is fixing now. There are two main directions. First direction is fixing bugs, as I told. There remain some minor bugs inside. Then their manner in terms of the amount of messages they influence, but they can be quite important bugs. The second issue is bandwidth, because generation of messages requires some additional structures and some additional memory requirements and whatever, some additional bandwidth, and that stuff requires a lot of additional work. And there are narrow places, there are bottlenecks which should be improved. For example, one of them I can show is that probably you can see that there is some pattern about switching between validator sessions. As you know, in Tone architecture as well as in Ever architecture, each 4 or 5 minutes you have change of validators, and there is some additional load over the network because of that. And you can see that it can be seen on these diagrams as loss of some messages between sessions. So that's about the status. Any questions?
Any questions? But I don't think, is he on the call? I'm not sure. So this is,
Yeah, I'm here.
oh,
So,
yeah.
no, but
So does anybody have any questions for Dimitri? I'm skimming the YouTube chat. There's some things from Micha that we'll catch up on after the other presentations are done. If there's nobody on the call, then thank you, Dimitri, for setting that up, recording a nice presentation for us. And if it's okay with you, we can circulate that recording to people who maybe were not able to catch it in the beginning because it had frozen for a bit. But okay, so we move on to the Frosty Gitcoin Hackathon with our dear Ivan. After 4 weeks, 80 entries, and what, 43,000 US dollars to give away. This was the third Everscale-based hackathon, and it just came to an end. So, Ivan, take it away. Hi.
Actually, the adventure started, I think, 1.5 years ago when I first met Gitcoin CEO Kevin Motis, and I just asked his contact and wrote him straight away, well, let's do a hackathon. We have a powerful platform. So, but there was the times when Gitcoin was transforming so they moved from a centralized company model to decentralized DAO model, and there were lots of internals in their team. They didn't have any time. Yeah, it's loud, I understand. It has nothing to do with that. So, approaching to the current status, now we finally get this hackathon, and it was hosted by Buildbox team. Now they switched their name, but it's still branded as a Gitcoin platform. So just Buildbox is just a team which stayed behind. I just wanted to shout out to Tips here because they're pretty efficient. Like one methodologist, one operation guy, and maybe another girl who was assisting those processes. And it went really okay. Let me share a few demos from our GameFi participants. I think they have, in terms of presentational and marketing, I think they achieved the best results. So. Is there a sound when I want to?
No, no sound.
No sound. No sound, right?
No.
I think that's fully okay. So this is a game I will comment them because yeah, I want to try. I don't want to try to fix it now. So this is a game they kind of had a good approach with preparation, with game design. So they modeled the design and special tools, and it's pretty sped up now on the demo. But in terms of demo, it was the best presentation. So actually, in the middle of gameplay, you still need to confirm the stuff with these pop-ups from Wallet. But in terms of packing it inside with instructions and with onboarding, user onboarding, they pretty much done it. So this is Clash of Hex. They won the first prize on the GameFi track. The second guy was a guy with this Zombox game, which is a game about cars smashing zombies on the go. So if we speed up the gameplay, so it's a clone of the guy, famous treasures, I would say. So what do you do here? You connect in the wallet, you have your NFT car. Of course, how can we do it without NFT? The really great technology. So you're adding this, so you're minting this car, you have like a small non-powerful car, and you can do power-ups here. So you're powering up your car and then go and smash some zombies around. I think, so yeah, so that's how it works basically. And finally, you can upgrade your car, so finally you will have this one. So I think this is one of the perfect examples with dynamic NFTs with on-chain logic. So we consider it as a great candidate to maybe be spin-off as a real game, because it has all inside. It has NFTs, it has on-chain mechanics, and it has this beautiful look and feel. In terms of production readiness, I think that's really great. What can be improved here is the physics, right? So zombies may be more live and real, but anyways, I think as a result of 1 month, and especially considering that this was done by non-community member, I think that's really great result.
Yeah, that's excellent. Yeah, I definitely want to see some arms flying around and some body parts detaching. So it's more realistic, right?
Yeah. So yeah, we consider it as a good candidate for second place, and for maybe we will reach out to this developer later.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Again, the third is my, and this is my sort of my favorite one, but it gets just third place. And you will ask me, why is this my favorite one? It is because I earned some money here, so they really kind of bought me up to say this. So basically, this is a Ponzi scheme, Ponzi game, but again, the look and feel, it looks like a single product with landing page, with everything, and all this copywriting. So it was really thought through by the developer. He thought very deeply about how his website will look. So we have SBF here on the landing page.
Yeah, I was wondering about that.
Really funny, yeah, you can see. And SBF invites you to participate in money earning game. And yeah, you don't need to scam no one. Of course, there is an option to invite your peeps to deposit in this SBF trust and lose their money. But you can earn without them, because the developer put his own money to onboard first users. So each game has 50 Evers pot, and you can join, for example, with 2 Evers and get this 50 Evers in maybe a half of an hour. So yeah, please go to sbf-trust.com and earn some money. Yeah, I think that's it. That was pretty fun. I was discussing the results of hackathon with my good friend Boris Ivanovsky, but he has his own view on that. I think this is the hackathon went good and the results are good, but I think Boris has few cents on it.
Thank you. Well, we have tried some of the products with some of the participants, and it does not go as smoothly as on the videos, as on demos. And one of the most problematic areas was where applications demanded in an automated form to connect a wallet to their application. And that's in Everscale when basically every account can be a wallet, right? It's still, just imagine if you want to play a game or to have any monetary transaction, you would be reprimanded to attach a card of a particular bank with a certain restrictions to just to use the product. Well, it's to me it's a really restrictive stipulation, and it's basically a blocker for any reasonable user to really enjoy any of the applications which we have been shown. But moving to innovations, that's basically what we have released recently from the toolchain point of view, right? It was a major release of the compiler, Solidity compiler, which basically supported conversion of UINT32 type to a private ID, private function ID. Basically, that means that among other things, you can use and declare type of a pointer to a function, which is a fundamental feature of programming in lower languages like C. So it's now available in our compilers as well. But just to list features release over release, it's kind of boring and pointless. And I want to ask Ivan, as a person who withheld a wave of new users and developers over a period of a month, how does the development toolchain for Everscale, how does it work for new people, for new users? How is it suitable to serve as a base for a product to be developed on?
I would say, sure. I would say definitely our toolchain became much more powerful during this year, and so the developer experience upgraded a few times, and thanks to introduction a few more of powerful tools inside compiler. For example, API.NET Code was very anticipated by developers, so thank you for introducing this one. The upgrading contracts with a huge state is now no problem, because you can you can now seamlessly pack and unpack the whole contract state inside one cell and transfer it to the next version of your contract, which is very convenient pattern. And lots of really the small things which make the experience smooth. And I hope we will see lots of new stuff next year. I believe you are continuing, and I think that Boris envisions the future of programming for smart contracts, which is not really fit developers' heads now, but yes. I think we can do something with it in future, but for that we need to reposition a bit, because now we are positioning us as a platform which supports Solidity language for programming smart contracts, and the expectation which a general Solidity developer has from Solidity language is a bit another semantics. So we changed the semantics a lot, introducing this asynchronous and messages and straightforward access to internal structures, like building all this cells and types, and yeah, we changed the semantics a lot, and we achieved that without introducing any assembly, so it's pretty understandable and encapsulated into compilers intrinsics, and this is a good way to go. But what I wanted to say is that our Solidity language is switching a bit to a different space, different. It has to require a different mindset from developer.
Yes.
So I think that it would be pretty natural to change even the name of the language to be not restricted with its specification. And that's what I wanted to say you, I think, several weeks ago, but I just remembered it now, so I want to say it to you now. So I think we need, as far as we changed already the semantics, as far as we require more in-depth knowledge of asynchrony and require higher level of developers who are introduced to our ecosystem, we need to also reposition the naming, because like telling the world that we support Solidity is not actually truth, because this is another Solidity.
Well, we do, but it's an extension. So my vision in this regard is pretty simple. I want to be able to program in this Solidity the things I'm able to program in C on my desktop computer. Why not, right? So in general terms, it's a general purpose development language. So why not? And so far, all the experiments I have done with porting different parts of FreeBSD kernel on blockchain have been pretty successful and also pretty efficient.
Have you already got console.log working in Solidity?
Which one? Sorry?
Do you have console.log working in Solidity?
Console. Well, console is just a device. It's
okay.
It's a general concept. So as soon as you write to a character device,
I got your point. You're very
you got a console.
You're very fundamental.
Yes. Answering your questions, yes. I have a prototype of a console device, a console character device, also ported from FreeBSD to blockchain as symbol by symbol. It's not very efficient because you write character by character, but
yeah, you're the man from the future.
Thank you. Later.
So, any other updates on Toolchain?
Well,
how do you think this feature with function pointers will evolve? How should we use it? Why do we need to cast function IDs to function types?
Of course, it's a reflection and dynamic. Like you don't have to have your function at the time of compilation. You can load it dynamically, right? Because you can receive a code cell, you can bless it, and then you can invoke the function you need at the runtime.
So I think we need to have a workshop on that topic, because
definitely.
I feel like the only man understanding what we're talking about. So let's say for in the simple words. So we have a contract and we have code inside this contract that, hey, I'm receiving this cell, then I want to upgrade my code and then invoke that function, which name I don't know yet, and signature. So as far as I know, the signature of this function, I can discuss the function ID of the function. So this function will come in the future sometimes.
Yes.
But I already can write code which will invoke that function, right?
Definitely. The signature has to be fixed because you need to pass parameters to this function, right?
Yeah, sure.
And you have to use the return value. That's
Yeah.
especially important and interesting with regards to library
Okay,
functions.
can this function launch like something in action phase? So can it throw reserve funds or can it send messages?
I highly don't recommend doing this because it's very sensitive part which belongs to the core of your contract. And things which
Yeah.
are talking about are more about library functions, which encapsulate, let's say, things like polymorphism,
Okay.
and different behavior of something which is calculated and might be done more or less efficiently, but not really touching the state of your contract and your finances. At least I wouldn't dare to use function pointers to manipulate my own wallet and my funds for living. But yes, let's have a workshop on the subject probably before the new year, just to have it done in this year. Thank you very much. I think that was all from my side.
Thanks, Boris. That's a good idea, guys. Get a workshop going. Cool. If you got anything else, I think that is it for your Everscale technological Sleighbells update. Indeed, the innovation side. Cool. So we're going to move on to the Indonesian community carols. So thank you very much, Adil, for waiting, for your patience. If you're still here, yes, I see you. So there you are. Hi. Hi, nice to meet you. Welcome.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Welcome to the Everscale community call. I hear you have some nice updates for the Indonesian community.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me, and I also have my team join the call tonight. Actually, we rarely knew. We started like a couple months ago, like 3-4 months ago, and we already have. I mean, in Indonesia community, we usually use the social media through Instagram and TikTok. I mean, you know, TikTok's very famous nowadays. On top of the Telegram group that we already have. So now we're building. We're doing MMA almost every week through Instagram. So if you look at our social media, Everscale ID, we use Everscale ID for the Indonesia. Then we have, I think, more than almost 10 or 12 videos already on. And on top of that, I think our global PR also helping us with do the MA with the local KOL. And that's been very good. It gives a boost and the put us on the map, and people start talking about Everscale and knowing about Everscale. Our plan for 2023, we'll do more collaboration. We go to do office to office community build. So we do a presentation. It's more like educational stuff, and we ask people to download our Ever wallet and give them some airdrops on it. And then we also do campus to campus as well as school to school to introduce a concept of investing in the crypto, and also introduce the Everscale blockchain as well as the our token, our native token. On top of that, we also trying to build relationship with local GameFi community. I think tomorrow I'm gonna a friend of mine, they're gonna introduce to Creo Engine, the community called Creo Engine, and they're one of the biggest GameFi community in Indonesia. Right now they're using other chains, and they're a friend of mine taught them about our Everscale chain. and they're interested of do collaboration or probably move to our chain for the for next year. So it's a lot of initiatives going on, and we're very excited for next year. Actually, we have few things lined up for us on top of what we do in building community, as well as doing the social medias campaign and marketings with our small team here in Indonesia. So I think that's what I can share for now.
Excellent. Great update. Looking forward to 2023 with all the games that you're bringing in too.
Right.
Bringing all your friends onto Everscale. That's awesome. Thank you very much for joining our call. I hope to see your face around more often. Bring your team over. Be nice for, to everybody in the community to meet them. That's great what the Indonesian community is doing. Cool. So great, guys. This is the last call of 2022. And for closing the year, as we're nearing the end of this year, starting a new one, of course, I wanted to thank everybody for your dedication to Everscale. I know it's been a challenging year, not only for our industry, but for others as well. But we're still here, and I believe the best is yet to come. So looking ahead to the new year, I want to wish everybody a happy holiday season. And I hope you're able to take some time to relax and recharge and spend time with your loved ones. And I'm confident. Yeah, cheers. I don't cheers. I don't have anything to cheers with. It's a mouse. So I'm confident that next year it's going to be a year of success and growth for all of us. So let's continue to work together, have our calls, get together, and strive for excellence in everything.
Oh,
we
yeah, by
do.
the way, one more thing.
Yeah.
I forgot to say greetings to the top 3 girls of Everscale community. By my personal selection is Katerina Pantas, John Eberhard, and Varvara.
Of course. Okay, cool. Yeah. Cheers. Cheers, everybody. Wish I
Bye-bye.
had a cup. Thank you, everybody. See you next year.
See you.